we go.
Your end is here.
Yay.
Yeah, I think that would have killed him.
Yeah, shout out to that combo, by the way. You almost look like you've done that before.
Yeah, well,
Only a couple
I've
times.
definitely gotten hit by that combo for sure.
The little gray screen simulator combo there.
Oh yeah.
So, all right, well, let's dive into it one step at a time. We got to start with the basics, and by that I mean basic attacks. So,
Not like Maui, where we pushed the envelope a little bit. Very standard.
except
very
for with the design, look at those colors.
well, yeah, of course. Visually, absolutely incredible. And I'm gonna say his name a lot during this, but worked with Shane from the effects team on Maui.
Shout out to
Was lucky
Shane.
enough to
Shout
work
out
with him again
Shane.
for Chel. I think that he just continues to outdo himself. This was always going to be a very visually demanding kit. Mages usually are. It's a lot less physical animation,
Movement,
a lot more
yeah.
you know, effects-driven stuff.
Of course.
And he really stepped up and I think absolutely went crazy on this god.
If there's anything that I feel like I can comfortably say about my coworkers here, it's that they're constantly setting the bar, and then the next time around, setting the bar again.
And
So
surpassing it.
it's like
Yes.
it's like they're building a ladder, you know. Every
Something
time
like
it's just
that.
another bar higher up. So
Yep.
let's keep moving with the passive Rainbow Weaver.
Yeah, so we wanted Chel because she is this combination of two different goddesses, Goddess
Yeah.
I and Goddess O. And they have, you know, Goddess I is much more benevolent, and that's where a lot of the medicine and healing and all that kind of stuff comes from. We
course.
wanted her to have some utility aspects
Yeah.
and some team play that is not just pure damage, but we wanted her to very clearly be a damaged mid laner.
Okay.
Kind of think Baron Samdi, but less utility, more damage.
More damage. Got it.
And so her passive is the Rainbow Weaver. So every time she affects any god,
Staff.
whether it be herself, an ally, or an enemy,
Got it.
with an ability, she gains a stack, which is a color of the rainbow. And once you get to 6, which is the max number, you enter your passive state, which is, you know, this beautiful staff, your
Yeah.
passive icon is lit up, all that kind of stuff. And whenever you have your passive charged, your next basic attack will be wider, have no basic attack penalty, and deal bonus damage based on her magic power. So
is
it's
so
increased magical power scaling on that next basic attack. And this is a passive that, you know, we have a lot of mage passives that interact with basic attacks, like Agni and Nuwa.
Yeah.
But those are more centered around either, in Agni's case, basic attacking and then using abilities, or in Nuwa's case, all using your basic attacks to set up for your abilities. I wanted this ability to feel, or this passive to feel like I'm combining all of my abilities in this unique way every single time, and then when I enter my passive state, I just get to fling out this really quick little burst of damage and keep going in my
Yeah.
combo. And it allows you to, it feels almost like an ability more than a passive. But I think that's a really fun design space to really explore are these passives that are really integrated throughout the kit, but then just have this one big burst effect, and then you feel like you've augmented what you did in a really, really fun way. And the basic
Yeah.
just feels so fun to use. The animation team, this little spin they came up with, I think is absolutely awesome. And whenever you get to just toss one of these, and then when we get to the ultimate, you'll see how it interacts there. But it's pretty easy to quickly gain a lot of these because, as Lermy's showing, by hitting 3 Odins with this ability, you gain 3 stacks. So a lot of times with these abilities, we limit you to 1.
Yeah.
But we really wanted you to get rewarded for those big hits where you
Yeah.
get, oh, you know, I hit a big knock-up or whatever it is, getting close to that passive. And then how it interacts with whenever you help yourself or help allies, I think really adds to the idea of this endless options along your endless color spectrum of ways to use your kit.
In the rainbow tapestry that is her combos and such, seeing you weave together those abilities with those auto attacks, it's just it's going to be so cool to see people take that and adapt their style around that. So.
Yep.
Really excited for that. So let's get into ability 1, which kind of has 2 parts here. Part 1 being Gleaming Blast, part 2 being Threads of Light. So let's start with Gleaming Blast.
Yeah, so Lerm, maybe we take off the no cooldown here to show this one. So the AO1, if you would just fire it and not hit the Odin, is just a very simple line skill shot. It is one of the lowest base damage abilities in the mage class. It's basically, you can compare it to like a no corpse explosion.
With one of the prettiest
from Opwash.
targeters.
Yeah,
Can we talk about this for a second? Oh my god.
Just
Yeah.
again,
That's
FX. Go
FX.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big
Shout out
praise
Shane.
to y'all. So sorry. Anyway, continue.
No, by all means. But you know, we have these abilities in the game that I really like. Abilities like Screech from Kamazox.
Yeah, of course.
That give you this very simple presentation of hit this very clear, easy to understand line ability, get something in return.
Yeah.
And I also think that something like Yamoja, where she has 2 different variations of the AO1,
Yeah.
that's super cool.
It is.
And we don't have that many instances of that. So kind of combining those 2 ideas, we came up with this Gleaming Blast into Threads of Light. So if you hit an enemy god with Gleaming Blast, your 1 switches to an entirely new ability and becomes this.
An amazing rainbow triangle.
The Threads of Light.
Oh.
This was Twitter.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
We might have shown this one on Twitter a little bit.
It is one of the coolest looking abilities in the entire game, and the idea being that she separates the colors into each of the 6 that she uses, and they kind of spin together and then all blast at once. And enemies in the point there, you can see in the triangle in the preview, enemies that are hit by all the beams where they converge take a little bit of bonus damage, but this is damage in that area.
Got it.
And then any enemies, oh yeah, you got to spawn an E-Shell bot. Enemies that are facing the orbs when they detonate are blinded. I believe it's bot shoot 14.
I hope that I am in the right spot for this. We'll see.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, there we go.
So it is not raw blind exactly,
Yeah,
because
not exactly.
raw blind is incredibly long. It's, it lasts for 5 seconds, but it just fades out over time. We wanted to have something a little bit punchier, you know, more like a, oh man, but then it's gone.
Yeah.
You know, didn't want to go with pure white light because we burned the retinas of all of our playtesters plenty of times.
Yeah.
Hopefully, workers' comp covers the eye surgeries we need from
Odin's
that.
going to need some glasses, probably.
Absolutely. But it really does achieve this really fun effect where it is not like Loki AO2 that, you know, is kind of a obfuscation more than
like
a true
a partial blind. Yeah.
This is the second true blind in the game where it is going to fully remove everything from your screen. It is important to note that there are some differences between this and raw blind in that you can still you keep your HUD elements.
Yeah.
That's something that, you know, gods made in 2012 are going to be different than gods made in 2023.
No, impossible.
I think this is the better way to implement the blind so that it feels like you still have some option. But overall, I'm really happy that, you know, blinds have been getting pitched. That's one of the top fan requests that we get all the time. When are we getting another blind? Shout out to my man F. Dot for every God brainstorm he was ever in with me. He pitched a blind for every single god,
one.
and I followed suit. And I'm happy to finally get one in here with E-Shell.
Aggro, hero of the people, champion of the people.
You say that until people get blinded and they hate it and they're like, why did they add another blind? And you realize why we've done 2 blinds over 10 years.
Yeah, fair enough. So, well, cool. Let's keep the train rolling. Lunar Invocation. I think we saw this one a little earlier. Literally space and the moon, if I'm not incorrect here.
Yeah, so again, of the million things that E-Shell is associated with, she is very closely associated with the moon. That is very much a goddess eye aspect of it.
Cool. Oh my gosh.
And you know, we have a Willish in the same pantheon, right? Who is an aspect of the moon, you know, moon goddess. And I was really thinking, like, it wouldn't make that much sense to not have any synergy with a Willish if she's in her pantheon using a moon ability.
Yeah, right?
She should be able to set up for a Willish, right? So
I hadn't even thought about it.
Yep, that was the whole idea behind this ability. So E-Shell places down a lunar summoning area, and it does nothing when you first deploy it. It fills to full. It goes from new moon to full moon,
which is
following
so cool.
the crescent. Shout out to Ali from the animation team for making sure we were going the right way from right to left instead of left to right. And then once it detonates, it damages and knocks up enemies in the area, and it will also heal any allies in the area. So that's where, when we say things like affects an ally with an ability, you can see E-Shell places it underneath her own feet and her Odin, she gains 2 passive stacks because she would have
Yeah.
healed herself
The moonlight
and the Odin.
shines.
That's really cool.
It's not a huge heal. I would not she's going to be a low tier healer, a lower tier healer in the assault tier list. She is not a tier 1 healer.
Not an afro.
No, not an Afro, Hell, or Raw.
Yeah.
But it is it's a small burst heal that is nice, but not a core factor. Using
Yeah.
it for the knock-up is really, when you can, that's going to be your stronger option.
Yeah, if you're like setting up, prepping for a team fight, you need to top off some health pools. You got a few seconds, blow the heal. Why not? But
Yep.
if you're getting ready to contest fire, you want to have that up. You want to save
Exactly.
that for the offensive capability.
And she doesn't have a lot of defensive tools. This is one of her best defensive tools. If you're running away
I'm
and
running.
place it
The
at your
moonlight
feet,
shines.
if you place it at max range and continue to run, it will really like pop right as you get into it. Or if you place it kind of like halfway between you and max range, you can really get it so that you are in it as it explodes.
Yeah.
And if an assassin or a warrior is basic attacking you, it will knock them up and heal you as you kind of run through it. You
Yeah.
can place it in your way out, and it acts as a very good self-peel tool.
Yeah, they really have to make the choice. Like, do I follow, take the knock up, and keep trying? Do I completely back off? Like,
Yep.
a lot of cool playstyle possibilities. Awesome.
Yep.
So let's get into the third ability named Rainbow Crash.
Yeah, okay, so if she's a goddess of rainbows, right, and we're using a lot of light, she has to have a rainbow arc.
Of
Like
course.
that was just a non-negotiable for me from day one of selecting this kit. So she lobs out this arcing rainbow projectile, which again looks phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh,
it
man.
damages and roots enemies in that area, and then spawns these orbs of light that pop out. One for each of the 6 colors of the rainbow that we're using.
Yeah.
By the way, to get ahead of the 6 versus 7 colors of the rainbow, Roy G. Biv and all that kind of stuff, that was a long internal debate. We feel comfortable with the rainbow is an infinite spectrum
Yeah.
of colors, right? There isn't one number of colors in the rainbow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And if we are going to be interacting with the colors of the rainbow as much as we wanted to in this kit, with the passive stacks, these orbs, the orbs on the BO1,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff, it is so much easier for our. It just felt so much cleaner and looked better with 6
The moonlight
versus 7.
shines.
So I respect my man Roy G. Biv, I do, but we felt that this was the better version.
Yeah, and like you said, take the color picker, click anywhere, click any 53 spots on a rainbow, you're gonna get different colors technically.
Infinite.
So yeah, so going with 6 it's fine. It
It was the right decision for us artistically.
Yeah.
Anyways, the 6 orbs come out here, and this is something a little bit different. So obviously, you've got Discordia that kind of pops these orbs out from her one, but those are damaging for enemies. These orbs do no damage at all to anyone. And enemies, in fact, Lermy, if you have Chel shoot her 3,
This isn't gonna make anyone run away. So we're good.
yeah, you're good. You can really barely see them because they
true.
don't matter to
They're
you
ghostly.
as an enemy. You don't have to interact with them. You won't absorb them, anything like that. It's for Chel and her allies because they gain movement speed upon absorbing these orbs of light. So again, going for that utility identity. Yeah, all your Odins are now
I
now
freaked
stuck
it.
there. They've I think that nice, there you go. Getting some of that utility and just tossing this out and having allies, try and run to these orbs to grab them, it has been really fun.
Yeah.
Chel also gives herself movement speed on cast and then gets more movement speed on picking up an orb. So again, no traditional movement ability, but giving her some good self-peel tools with being able to put the 2 underneath her feet and giving herself some movement speed here with the AO3.
And you can only ever pick up one orb, right? So you're not ever stealing orbs from your teammates.
No, you can. If you've absorbed one, any further ones will pass right through you. So if you're right dead, right there, dead in the center, you won't pick up a whole bunch of orbs all at once, absorb them all.
Got it.
You'll just grab one and and let your allies pick up the rest.
Yeah, well, man, not only is that ability so pretty watching all of those colors bounce around, but I like that all of the escape in this kit is built into how you utilize the other abilities. It's
Yes.
very
Exactly.
utility-based. I think that's really cool. Again, I'm a huge fan of skill expression, watching people show off how they take a kit that could be perceived 100 different ways and kind of ebb and flow with what they think is best for their situation. it makes for some of the best watching and some of the best feeling for Smite play for me. So really excited to see so much potential in this kit.
And real quick, because you're affecting an ally with an ability, if you pick up an orb or your ally picks up an orb, that's a passive stack.
Passive stack.
So again, ways to get your passive stack throughout the game by affecting your allies, not just your enemies.
Excellent. Well, this ability being called a Rainbow Crash, really cool. Kind of feels like you're getting punched in the face by a rainbow. A little more daunting title for the ultimate, Great End.
And another gorgeous targeter.
Another gorgeous
my
targeter.
God.
Unbelievably so.
Yes, just 10 out of 10. Yeah, Great End. I knew that's what I wanted this ultimate to be called, regardless of what the ultimate ended up doing. Her name, in some translations, you know, her various names that she would go by, Great End was one of them.
Yeah.
And, like, that is so metal.
What a title.
That is so sick. Like, come on. Great End is just so sick.
Yeah.
And this ultimate has been unbelievably fun to use. So you go up into this channel. She's channeling this intense rainbow energy in that beam. It's a constantly ticking beam. You are freely able to move during this time, and I believe you do not have a backpedal penalty during this time. It also instantly charges your passive. And then there are two pretty unique ways to there are two pretty unique things that this ultimate does.
Okay.
So it obviously damages enemies with each tick.
Yeah.
It will heal allies that you hit, and if you're healing an ally, then Chel herself will also be healed.
Okay.
And that's a missing health heal. So it's stronger the lower your ally is or the lower that you are. But
Great clutch heal.
don't want it to feel like a free drain tool if she's healing from damaging enemies, all that kind of stuff. It just ended up being really potent in the 1v1.
Yeah.
In order to get the heal for yourself, you have to be selfless and heal an ally. But if you normally just channel the ultimate, it lasts for 3 seconds. And this little time wheel around the edge right there, right in front of where she's channeling it, displays your time remaining on the ultimate, which is very clear and looks great.
And very cool.
If you hit both an enemy and an ally with a tick, it doesn't count against your timer, so to speak, allowing you to cast this for up to a maximum of 6 seconds.
Double
so you get
time.
to double your ultimate duration if you can line up your beam. It is not as easy as it sounds like it will be. It does end up, you know, these ticks are pretty quick. They are a little bit slower than a noob assault, but still pretty fast. But with people moving around and all that kind of stuff, but it allows you to make these huge game-changing ultimates happen.
Yeah,
but
especially in team play.
You really have to get used to how it's going to feel, how it's going to line up, all that kind of stuff. But it's been really, really fun to use. It's been one of my favorite ultimates to play with in a long time. And the other thing that we don't typically do, but I think really fits well in this ultimate, is that subsequent hits, normally we decrease their damage the more you get hit by something. But if you were just, if she was able to just death beam through a team fight and get big tick, and then the subsequent hits were littler ticks, that wouldn't feel very fair. It doesn't really feel the fantasy. Instead, hers are increasing in damage the more you hit a target. And so each tick that you hit is going to increase your damage by a little bit. If you miss some ticks, it will start counting back down. So you can kind of think of it as like a damage increase tracker.
Yeah.
And if you're hitting, and then you just like miss a couple, it'll slowly decay.
Back
and then if
down
you start hitting
back
again,
up.
you can start raising it back up. So it really rewards those players who are able to track really well, position really well. I mean, that is always a key factor in Mage gameplay is your positioning. This is me telling you, Mage players at home, stand behind your tanks.